Do we see the beauty of why the New Testament, Matthew 1:1, begins the generational lines of the sons of God? And it always puzzled me, like, why does it need to start this way? But if we see what Christ was doing and we see the pattern in this, it is glorious. So every 14 generations is given there. And so Christ was showing the 14 generations from David, or from Abraham to David, from David to Joshua. And Joshua came to overcome the generational, to overcome the world, right? The generational curses on his family line from the beginning, to show us how to overcome the world. And he was the wheat. He planted the good seeds in generational line. And so if we understand the wheat, those good seeds is the light planted within the posterity. And over 14 generations, now we are at the 14th generation. And so the curse energy, again, the curses, the false traditions of the fathers that have creeped in, have to be separated from the wheat. So the wheat is the blessings that Christ gave to the kingdom, the family of God. And the tares are the generational curses and false traditions of the fathers that have been passed down over the last 14 generations. So he's showing us we have the power to overcome. He was our example. So now here we are. We have the power to overcome these false traditions and bring back in the light of the good seeds that were planted. And so there are many different generational curses. There are records that show specific curses that were placed on people for 3 and 4 generations. There are other records that show the blessings, which is the light that came from following what Christ had done. And so right now, that's why the strongest spirits are here breaking these generational curses off of family lines. Those are the tares in the posterity line, the false traditions of the fathers that have infiltrated that generational lines over the last 14 generations. So the beauty in the 14 generations and why why the New Testament starts with that is absolutely glorious, and it's a glorious pattern. So we see why right now there is so much healing being done, because what is happening is we are healing the generational line and lines of our posterity. So if we understand that, then we understand what the true day of Pentecost is, and that we are healing and breaking those generational curses. And the day of Pentecost then activates the heart of Jehovah within the people. And then they are sent out to bring in the end harvest. And so it's truly glorious if we understand the patterns of the scriptures, and that Joshua came in, a very corrupted bloodline. He came showing us, look, guys, you can overcome anything. The sexual sin, the evil and corruption that had infiltrated the family lines, and we see that throughout Scripture. That's why you have the Scriptures, is so you can see the evil and the blessings and the evil. And like I said, there are also other records that show posterities of the same thing. So the generational curses are being broken, but you have to do the inner work, because the only way we are going to physically see the light being divided from the darkness, which is what God does in the beginning of a new heaven, new earth, right? He divides the light from the darkness. That is the wheat from the tares. So the wheat is the light, the good seeds that Joshua planted. And he was our exemplar of showing us, look, you guys can overcome any of this. I'm going to show you how it's done. I'm going to overcome these false traditions, which is ultimately why they killed him, because they did not like the fact that the false traditions were being brought into the light, and they wanted to stay in those false traditions. And he was there breaking them, showing the people these are false traditions, which is what he's been doing in the spiritual. And as the spirit, heaven and earth collide, right? The spiritual now hits the physical. And so we see that it is very much so possible for us to come into whatever family line we were born into and break these generational curses and these false traditions of the fathers. And that's the healing of the nations. The 12 tribes, part of the healing of the nations is to go back to the true traditions of the fathers, which is everything that Joshua was teaching and doing, was helping the people see You have infiltrated your posterity with false traditions of the fathers, and they didn't like that. They didn't want to change what was comfortable to them. And so may we see with more clear vision, that sea of glass of what is actually happening now, as we again have come to that 14th generation mark. All of these things that have infiltrated since Yahshua came have to be rooted out of our posterities. So may we embrace this glorious time. May we embrace this glorious time leading up to Pentecost of doing the remembering that the inward work has to happen first. If we're looking outward for the work to happen, it's never going to happen. You're here to help your posterity line. They are cheering for you. They want you to succeed because you are healing your posterity for 14 generations to come, and blessings will come from that. So just some food for thought to take to Yahshua. Have a glorious day.